Hey, good morning, church. I pray all is well with you this day on a Friday morning. Hey, I get the privilege of bringing us 1 Samuel chapter 29. It's an interesting chapter, and here's what's kind of interesting about it to me. It's one of those chapters in God's Word that if you just read through it, you think, okay, this is fine, and it's okay, but what really did this matter? This is an interesting story, though, when you actually study it. You see, this story is David, and you see David and Achish, and the Philistines are coming by, the Philistine armies, and they get at the very back of the pack and go with them. And they're going to go battle, and guess what? They're going to go battle with the Israelites, of course. And then David is found out to be there, and the leaders of the Philistines tell Achish, hey, that's David, you need to get rid of him, because they knew that David had killed Goliath, and now you've got this Hebrew in with the Philistines. Not only that, he was a warrior, and it was real awkward for him to be there. They didn't trust David. Achish kind of stands up for David and convinces David that he needs to leave because the Philistines didn't want David going to battle with them. And it's easy to read this and say, okay, what's the big deal? Well, here's the big deal. If you look at it this way, David was just about to go fight against Israel. In other words, David was going to fight against his own people, but not only his own people, he was going to fight against God's people. And so by these Philistine leaders standing up and not letting him go, it actually prevented David from doing something that would have really been wrong. And so when I read that story, it reminds me of the verse that says, in every sin or every temptation that we have, that God will provide a way out. See, even here, David was going to do something that was wrong, that would have been considered a sin. He would have been fighting against his own people, against God's chosen people. And God used the enemy to stop David from doing what was wrong. Wow, what a God that would actually use our enemy to help us to stop doing what we shouldn't do. So God will provide a way out every time in our lives to help us, to prevent us from doing something that we should not do, committing some type of sin. I think it's a great story. Hey, there's another story in there too that you need to pay attention to, and it's this story of Achish, the guy that was with David. Because you'll want to notice in verse number 6, you'll see Achish called to David and said, surely the Lord lives. And so Achish, being a Philistine, has spent so much time with David, has now come to realize that there's something really special about David's God. And so the way that David represented God must have been amazing. Then look at verse number 9. Achish, I love what he says here to David. I know that you are good in my sight as an angel of God. He said, David, you're a good man, just like an angel of God. You see, whenever you look at this story, you see two amazing things. One, the way that God protected David, and the second thing, the way that David influenced Achish. It is good. So shall it all be with us. Hey, I look forward to seeing you Sunday and continue our study here tomorrow. We're actually going to finish the book of 1 Samuel tomorrow, as we'll look at the last 2 chapters tomorrow. God bless. Have a great day.